Good evening. I'm Diana Williams.
And I'm Sade Bitter-and-Wall. We begin with those questions about excessive force in Newark. Take a look at the surveillance video. It appears to show an officer punching a teenager. And now the officer has been suspended without pay. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Lipoff is in Newark with the exclusive story. Phil?
Any police department the size of Newark PD will tell you they get their fair share of complaints from people in the city about police brutality. Some of the complaints are valid. Some of them are not valid. What makes this case different is that the mother of the 15-year-old boy has that video. It's Wednesday night just before 10. The video is from a surveillance camera outside of 47 Spruce Street. That's 15-year-old Travis Rattray there, sitting on the steps. He says he was waiting for a friend. That friend comes into the picture at the same time as an undercover Newark narcotics officer.
He started checking my pockets, like, where you going? I'm like, I'm about to go to the bus stop with my friend.
Over the next minute or so, the officer continues to check Travis's pockets. And then all of a sudden, without warning, he unloads, punches Travis in the face, slams him into a glass window. He and the other officer take him to the ground. Travis does admit there was some verbal jousting.
He was talking to his friends, like, oh, this kid got a smart mouth. Like, as he patting me down like this, he just swung.
Take a look at this. Travis did move his arms just before the officer swung, but he says he was just trying to pull up his pants. After the takedown, his mom, who is pregnant, came out of the building.
I told him, get off my son. What are you doing? Get him off the ground. And kept saying, like, trying to cut me off. Like, man, back up, back up. You're interfering with police business. I said, I don't care. Somebody explain to me what's going on. Why is my son on the ground?
Travis is sore. He has cuts on his chin and his face. His braces tore through his lips, and some dreadlocks were actually ripped out of his head. In the end, he was arrested, charged with aggravated assault of a police officer and resisting arrest. We showed this video to the police director. After watching it, the officer who punched Travis was suspended without pay. The other three were reassigned, and we were given a statement that reads in part, this agency will maintain a zero-tolerance policy for any actions that jeopardize or tarnish the public's trust. Travis and his mom are angry. They're talking to Internal Affairs and a lawyer.
I want justice.
Which would be what in this case?
Them fired.
Yeah, they're also real concerned about Travis's record. Aggravated assault on a police officer.
Good afternoon. This is Nat Wood again, and as most of my viewers already know, this is 30 frames a second. I have the privilege of introducing a gentleman who is a true activist and a true nationalist in every sense of the word. He's out there fighting on the front lines when that's required. He's also on a grassroots level working hard within his community to bring about change in his community. When we hear the words New Black Panther Party, there's a media persona that we are fed. And part of it is true. This is a feisty organization. But unlike any organization, any other organization that I know of at this moment, they truly work within the community, doing things within the community, holding coat drives and fundraisers. And a lot of the people in the New Black Panther Party are people who struggle themselves. They're people who you would normally think would be more preoccupied with their own condition than working so hard to elevate all of us in the black community. I am proud to present to you the National Minister of Culture, Minister Zayid Muhammad. He's based in Newark, and he's going to give us a little background on some of the things he's doing. And he's worked actively, tirelessly in this case of Travis Rattray, and we're going to talk about that. With that, Brother Zayid, it's an honor to have you sitting in that chair, brother. Thank you for coming.
Well, brother and sir, I'm supremely humbled just to be here. It's not the first time, and it's always good to come in town and to really share with our people some of the things that we're trying to do. We appreciate it.
National Minister of Culture. Before we get into Travis, because you've worked hard with Travis on the Travis situation, and with his mother, you've had. So I'm going to ask you about where things are going and how his mother is doing. But give us some backdrop as to some of the things that you do within Newark and nationally as Minister of Culture in the new Black Panther Party.
Well, let me just first act like some manners. Let me thank you first for doing this, and I can't say that people who do the kinds of things that I do, we do not have, even with this age where we have more independent media outlets, we still don't have enough that are being used for the kinds of things that we need. There's a whole lot of entertainment stuff out here that's very fluff, but with stuff that has true substance like yours does, it's not enough. And we get a chance to use it, we make good of it, and we're glad that you do. So we're glad. I want to thank you for that. I want to say also, just in terms of my own background, that I'm what you call a Panther Cub. I'm a New York Panther Cub. I was politicized and socialized by some incredible gladiators in the Black Panther tradition right here from this town. The late Sophia Bukhari, Daruba bin Wahad. I just lost one of my favorite elders, the late Ali Bey Hassan, who just passed away a few weeks ago. And so when I had a long friendship with my late general, the immortal Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And it's that background that Khalid asked me to come into the party, and it's been over 10 years, almost 11 years now. It's been 10 years since his passing, 10 years since I've been on this particular post. I came in as a chief of staff position that I shared with a late comrade, Malika Muhammad, to make sure that things were right, and really just trying to anchor some of the younger voices that were developing in the party. That was the initial thing. But there's so much going on in our community, so many challenges, that I brought, of course, the politics, the history, the community survival program tradition. That's really what you're getting at into the party, and also trying to raise that, of course, from a revolutionary cultural base.
And the phrase, I don't want to cut you off. I want to get right back to what you were saying, but I just want to say the phrase Panther Cub is almost unprecedented, because one of the things that we are indicted for, my generation is indicted for, is not reaching out to young people and teaching them and bringing them in. And there's a lot of organizations that swear that they are activists and political, but have no youth that they have developed, shown anything, can replace them. It's just like this poverty pimp job for life thing that they're engaged in. So I just want you to know how extraordinary it is just to hear the phrase Panther Cub.
Yes.
With that, I'll let you continue.
Well, I mean, and it was through the community survival programs that the Black Panther Party socialized the youth that they were serving. The breakfast programs. I was socialized and trained through the Black Panther newspaper. We redeveloped the newspaper in the 80s, and I had a ball with that. Not just with the writing, but getting out in the streets and person to person, hand to hand. Up and down the subway cars, on the street corners, just rocking this drum, and it was a great thing to do, and of course its impact in the community was obvious. And even though it was a downtime in terms of activism, in terms of above ground organizations, the vehicle, or those kinds of vehicles, have a value that you can't put a number on, that you can't measure, because you're touching people's lives in an immediate sense, and they can have the impact on their lives over a long period of time. And I'm just an example of that.
Now, as I mentioned before, you and not just you, the new Black Panther Party is involved in a lot of things on a grassroots level within the community. Travis Rattray, how did you get involved with this? How did this come to your attention, and what's going on with that? Give us the exact circumstances around this case.
Well, the question of police brutality, of course, is something that has been stalking our community like a ghost for the longest. And my elders would say that our the police force represents a force of occupation in our community. None of that has changed. So all of that is very much the case. even to this day. I lived literally in walking distance from where that took place, and it's just being busy at what I do. I had been working with another family on a far more difficult case than this particular case. Travis is supremely lucky. He could have wound up dead.
Now,
most of us know that.
For those of the viewers who weren't able to like tune in right at the beginning and see for themselves the circumstances, take us back. What specifically happened? What was Travis doing, and what came about?
This is a late fall night last year. Travis and a friend were at his mother's apartment. The friend had left, and after the friend left, he realized that he had left a set of headphones. This is something really minor. He was coming back to get his headphones. Travis was waiting for him to give his homie his headphones. And these officers reacted to these headphones like he was passing, you know, a pound of heroin. And then you saw what happened. He was unceremonially, after he was searched and established that he had no contraband or no weapons, he was still assaulted. And you know, we've had some legal, even with the videotape, we've been to court over this, and hoping that we would at least get this guy on some key charges. The officer had a very savvy and very racist lawyer who knew how to use the race card, if you don't mind me saying, to find that 1 or 2 or 3 jurors who lock into the us versus them mentality. We have to support our police officers at all costs because of what they're facing in the streets. So we actually lost
anything in the streets. It seems like, well, not even seems like, it is. We're seeing black people seem to be a cash cow for white people. And we've been a cash cow for white people for the last 400 years. If you're running for president, you say a whole lot of nasty, denigrating things to black people, and white people cheer you on and vote for you. If you talk about the issue of unfair stop and frisk, the numbers of which just defy all mathematical logic. If you stop 1 million black people, you'll catch 2 people with a reefer seed in their pocket. Defies all logic. But white people tend to cheer this on and find reasons why you must keep your foot on the neck of black people for the good of white America. So you have a 15-year-old child in front of his house, in front of his own house. He's not doing anything. And just if you want to know if he's selling anything to anyone, you could do marginal surveillance on the, because he's sitting there to ascertain if there's anything past or anything. Now this is a young man, 15 years old, who has been in no trouble with the police. And the simple act of speaking to another black person is enough for the police to then come up to him, shake him down out of nowhere. If they don't like the answers that he gives to them, they can beat him up, kill him, because a lot of people end up dead, and then charge him with resisting arrest for doing this. And somehow city council members and mayors and government officials fight very hard to convince us that this is somehow for the good of the team, you know, and a necessary evil to protect policemen. Am I missing something?
No, this is where we are in urban America in the early 21st century. Some things have changed and some haven't. The late Chauncey McIntyre, who was a jewel of this town and one of my teachers, put out a book called Criminalizing a Race. They have been doing that to us since slavery ended, as a way to make sure that this particular population is always in a controllable place that makes the other side feel happy, safe, and secure, even if it means continued debasement and dehumanization.
Correct.